Before you take your first sip of coffee this morning, there's a small mistake most people over 50 make. Every single day and, over time, it can quietly increase the risk of fatigue, inflammation, and even chronic disease, without any obvious warning signs. And the worst part? It feels completely normal. Let me show you what's really happening. Here's something you won't hear very often in a clinic. Not because it isn't backed by science, but because the fix is so simple. It doesn't come in a pill or a prescription. Over the years, researchers studying aging and long-term health have uncovered a powerful pattern. The people who stay healthier longer aren't necessarily doing anything extreme. They're just getting the basics right consistently. And today, we're starting with one of the most overlooked habits of all. No expensive supplements, no complicated routines. Just one simple action that most people skip without thinking twice. Now, at first, this might sound almost too basic to matter. But once you understand what's going on inside your body, it starts to make a lot more sense. We're talking about hydration specifically. What happens in your body after a full night of sleep? Now, you might be thinking, I drink water during the day, isn't that enough? Not exactly. Here's what changes as you get older. Your body slowly becomes less sensitive to thirst. That means even when your system actually needs fluids, the signal isn't as strong as it used to be. So you wake up, go straight to coffee, tea, or your morning routine and never really rehydrate properly. And that's where things begin to shift quietly. Because inside your body, hydration isn't just about quenching thirst. It directly affects how efficiently your internal systems function. One of the most important of these is something many people rarely think about: the lymphatic system. You can think of it as your body's internal cleanup network. Its job is to move waste, remove damaged cells, and help maintain balance inside your system. But unlike your heart, which pumps blood continuously, this system doesn't have its own pump. It depends on fluid levels and your daily movement to keep things flowing. So when your body starts the day slightly dehydrated, everything slows down. Waste doesn't clear as effectively. Your system becomes less efficient. And over time, that can contribute to increased inflammation. Now layer this with something else that naturally happens with age. Your body's internal repair processes, especially those responsible for cleaning up damaged cellular material, begin to lose efficiency. That's normal. But hydration plays a quiet supporting role in keeping those processes running as smoothly as possible. So when you're not properly hydrated, it's not just about feeling a little tired or sluggish. You may actually be reducing your body's ability to maintain and repair itself. And this is why the first hour of your day matters more than most people realize. A simple habit like drinking a full glass of water right after waking up, before anything else can, help restore fluid balance after hours of sleep and get your internal systems moving again. It's not complicated, but it's powerful. And if you take it one step further, adding even light movement, walking around your home, stretching, or just staying active for a few minutes can help stimulate circulation and support that natural flow even more. It's a small adjustment, but it creates momentum. And what you do next, especially when it comes to your first meal of the day, can either support your body or quietly work against it. Let's look at that next. What if the real issue isn't the food on your plate, but the fact that your body no longer handles it the same way after 50? Because this next habit doesn't just affect your digestion, it quietly impacts inflammation, immunity, and even how your body deals with internal damage. And most people never even realize it. Let's talk about something that controls far more than you think: your gut. By the time you reach your 50s or 60s, your digestive system naturally begins to change. It becomes more sensitive, less resilient, and in many cases slightly weaker at maintaining its protective barrier. In simple terms, your gut lining, your body's internal filter, doesn't stay as tight as it once was. And when that happens, things that are supposed to stay inside your digestive system can start slipping through into your bloodstream. Now your body sees those particles as a threat. So what does it do? It reacts. Your immune system activates. Inflammation slowly rises. And over time, your body can get stuck in a constant low-level state of defense. Not enough to feel immediately, but enough to affect how you age. Now here's where things take a very interesting turn. Because there's a category of foods used for generations across different cultures that can help bring this system back into balance. We're talking about fermented foods, not as a trend, not as a diet, but as something your body actually recognizes and benefits from. Foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, and miso. These foods contain living microorganisms, beneficial bacteria that your gut relies on. But their real value isn't just what they contain, it's what they do once they're inside your body. They help restore balance in your gut environment. They reduce the space available for harmful bacteria to grow. They support the strength of your gut lining, and they help calm down the inflammatory signals that build up over time. And when that balance starts to return, everything begins to shift. Digestion becomes smoother, Energy feels more stable throughout the day. Even your immune system becomes more controlled and efficient. But here's something most people never hear. Some of these beneficial bacteria produce natural compounds that help your body manage abnormal or damaged cells before they turn into something more serious. Almost like a quiet internal maintenance system working behind the scenes. But there's a catch. Those helpful bacteria can't survive or thrive on their own. They need the right environment. And this is where many people go wrong. They rely only on supplements, thinking that's enough. But your body responds best to real, living foods, paired with the nutrients that help those bacteria grow. So instead of overcomplicating things, start simple. Add 1 serving of fermented food into your daily routine. Maybe yogurt in the morning, or a small portion of fermented vegetables alongside your meals. Nothing extreme, just consistent. Now here's where it becomes even more powerful. When you combine these foods with what are known as prebiotic foods, like garlic, onions, or slightly green bananas, you create the ideal environment for those beneficial bacteria to multiply. Think of it this way: the probiotics are the workers, and the prebiotics are what feed them and keep them active. Together, they create a system that supports your body from the inside, without you having to think about it all day. And this becomes especially important after 50, because when inflammation starts to decrease, your body shifts. It moves away from constant defense and back toward repair and balance. That's where real, noticeable changes begin. So now you've built 2 strong foundations. You've rehydrated your system first thing in the morning, and you've started supporting your gut to reduce internal stress. But what comes next goes even deeper, because the next habit doesn't just support your body. It actually changes how your body produces energy and how efficiently it deals with damage at the cellular level. And this is where things really start to transform. Let's get into it. You've heard it your whole life. Just go for a walk. But what if the way you walk could actually decide whether your body stays in a state of decline or starts actively protecting itself? Because this isn't just movement. It's a strategy most people never learn. Let's break it down in a way that actually makes sense. For most people, walking means something casual. A slow stroll, maybe around the house or down the street. And yes, that's better than nothing. But here's what almost no one tells you. There's a specific way of walking that creates a completely different response inside your body. It's often referred to as metabolic walking, and the difference isn't obvious from the outside. But inside your body, everything changes. Here's why. Your body relies on 2 primary sources to produce energy: glucose and oxygen. Under normal conditions, your cells can use both. But when your system is constantly supplied with glucose from frequent eating and low movement, your body stays in a kind of energy surplus mode. And over time, that can create an imbalance, because certain unhealthy cells tend to rely more heavily on glucose as their fuel source. So when that fuel is always available, you're unintentionally supporting the wrong environment. Now, here's where walking becomes powerful. When you move your body in a steady, slightly challenging way, your muscles begin pulling glucose out of your bloodstream. Your breathing increases, bringing in more oxygen, and your entire internal environment starts to shift. Instead of being stagnant, it becomes active. Instead of overloaded, it becomes balanced. And that shift matters more than most people realize. Now, this becomes even more important after 50, because inside your cells there are tiny structures responsible for producing energy. These are called mitochondria. You can think of them as your body's energy engines, and as you age, they naturally become less efficient. That's why things start to feel different. You don't have the same energy. Recovery takes longer, and your body doesn't bounce back the way it used to. But here's the part most people don't know. Your body has the ability to create more of these energy-producing units, even later in life. And one of the simplest ways to trigger that process is through the right kind of movement. Not extreme workouts, not exhausting routines, just consistent, properly paced walking. So what does properly paced actually look like? It's not about how fast you go. It's about how your body feels while you're doing it. You should be able to hold a conversation, but singing would feel difficult. That's your target zone. It's the point where your body is being challenged, without being overwhelmed. Aim for around 30 to 45 minutes, most days of the week. And if you can, try doing this earlier in the day, even better before your first full meal. Because when your body hasn't been recently fueled, it starts tapping into stored energy more efficiently, which enhances the overall effect. Now here's where everything starts to connect. Remember the hydration habit from earlier? When you begin your day with water and follow it with this type of walking, you're supporting circulation, energy use, and internal balance all at once. But there's one more layer that most people completely overlook: exposure to natural light. When you step outside and get sunlight, especially in the morning, you help regulate your internal clock. This affects your sleep, your hormones, even your overall energy throughout the day. So now, what started as just a walk becomes something much more powerful. You're improving circulation, you're balancing energy usage, you're supporting your internal timing system, all through one simple, consistent habit. No equipment, no complicated routines, no barriers to starting, and that's what makes it so effective. But what comes next? This is where things go deeper than habits and routines, because the next step works at a level most people never think about. It actually influences how your body turns certain protective systems on, at the genetic level, and that's where real transformation begins. There's a group of vegetables sitting in your kitchen right now that can quietly activate your body's built-in protection systems right down to your DNA, but almost no one is using them the right way, and that mistake changes everything. Let's take a closer look. Up until now, we've been talking about habits, things you do each day that support your body, but this is where it goes deeper, because now we're talking about signals. Signals that tell your body when to protect itself and when to repair. And believe it or not, certain everyday vegetables can send those signals. We're talking about vegetables like broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. You've probably seen them your whole life. Maybe you already eat them, but here's what most people don't understand. The real benefit isn't just in the vegetable itself. It's in what happens when you prepare it. When these vegetables are chopped, crushed, or even chewed, a natural reaction takes place. And that reaction creates a powerful compound inside your body. This compound doesn't just add nutrients. It acts like a messenger, a signal that tells your body to turn on its internal defense systems, almost like flipping a switch that's been sitting idle. Once that switch is activated, your body begins to respond differently. It strengthens its ability to protect cells from damage. It becomes better at neutralizing harmful substances, and it supports the natural repair processes that slow down with age. Now, this becomes especially important after 50, because over time, your body's ability to defend and repair itself gradually declines. It's not sudden, it's subtle, but it means your system doesn't react to stress and damage the same way it used to. That's where these natural compounds come in. They help remind your body what to do. They reactivate pathways that may have become less active over the years, almost like waking up a system that's been running in low power mode. But here's the part where most people unknowingly cancel out the benefits. It comes down to how these vegetables are prepared. If they're overcooked, boiled too long, or exposed to high heat for extended periods, the very compounds you're trying to activate can be reduced significantly. So instead of getting that strong protective effect, you're only getting a fraction of it. That's why preparation matters just as much as the food itself. A better approach is simple. Start by chopping or crushing the vegetables and, then, let them sit for a few minutes before cooking. That short pause allows the beneficial compounds to fully form. After that, keep cooking light, a quick steam, a gentle saute, or even adding some of them raw into your meals when possible. It doesn't need to be complicated, just intentional. And there's one more option that takes this even further. Young vegetable sprouts, especially broccoli sprouts. These contain a much higher concentration of those beneficial compounds compared to fully grown vegetables, which means even a small portion can have a strong effect. Now here's what really matters. This isn't about eating large amounts. It's about doing it consistently and doing it the right way. Because just like everything we've covered so far, this works best when it's part of a bigger system, when your body is properly hydrated, when your gut is balanced, when you're moving regularly. These compounds become even more effective. Everything starts to connect. Each habit supports the next, and together they create an internal environment that works in your favor, not against you. But now we come to the piece that ties everything together, because no matter how well you eat, or how active you are during the day, there's one habit that determines how well your body actually repairs itself, and it all happens while you're asleep. The problem is, most people are unknowingly disrupting it every single night. You can eat all the right foods, stay active, and drink enough water every day. But if this one habit is AF5 slightly, your body slowly loses its ability to repair and protect itself, and this is where most people over 50 unknowingly struggle. We're talking about sleep, but not just how long you're in bed, how well your body actually recovers while you're there, because the most important work your body does happens when you're asleep. Let's break down what's really going on. When you enter deep sleep, your body shifts into a completely different state. It's no longer focused on movement or activity. Instead, it turns inward. This is when your system begins its overnight reset. Your brain starts clearing out waste that builds up during the day. Damaged cellular components are broken down and recycled, and your immune system becomes more active and organized. It's like a full maintenance cycle, running quietly in the background. But here's the problem. This process only happens efficiently during deep, uninterrupted sleep. And as we age, getting that type of sleep becomes more difficult. You might still spend 6 or 7 hours in bed, but the quality of that sleep isn't the same. You wake up more often. You spend less time in deep sleep stages, and your body doesn't fully complete that repair cycle. And that's where the real impact begins. Because during those deeper stages of sleep, your body produces key compounds that help regulate how your cells behave, support immune balance, and maintain internal stability. When that process is disrupted, your body becomes less efficient at managing stress and damage over time. Now, here's something most people don't realize. Your sleep doesn't begin at night. It actually starts the moment you wake up. The signals you give your body during the day determine how well you sleep later. Remember the morning walk we talked about earlier? That exposure to natural light plays a major role in setting your internal clock. It tells your body when it's time to be alert and when it's time to wind down. Without that signal, your system loses its rhythm. And once that rhythm is off, everything else becomes harder. Now add a few common habits into the mix. Going to bed at different times each night, using your phone or watching screens late into the evening, eating heavy meals right before sleep. All of these send mixed signals to your body. And when your body is confused, it struggles to enter that deep, restorative state. So instead of overcomplicating things, start with a few simple adjustments. Set a consistent sleep and wake time even on weekends. Keep your room cool, dark, and quiet. Give yourself at least an hour away from screens before bed, and avoid eating too close to bedtime. These small changes make it easier for your body to shift into deeper sleep naturally. And this is where everything you've learned comes together. When you combine proper hydration in the morning, a balanced gut supported by real foods, consistent, purposeful movement, protective nutrients from the right vegetables, and deep, high-quality sleep, you're no longer relying on a single habit. You're building a system. A system that supports your body the way it was designed to function. That's the real goal. Not quick fixes, not extreme routines, but simple, consistent actions, repeated daily. And here's the most important thing to remember. It's never too late. No matter your age 50, 60, or beyond, your body still has the ability to adapt, respond, and improve when given the right conditions. So don't try to change everything at once. Start with one habit, build from there. Because over time, those small changes can create a powerful shift, not just in how you feel, but in how your body works for you. If this helped you see your health differently, make sure to subscribe for more simple, science-backed habits. And in the comments, tell me which one of these are you starting first.